Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Unapologetic Hour. Today, I am so excited because, we've been dealing with procrastination on our last issue, and we just kind of talk from just our personal perspectives with the resident guru of job snatching and all that stuff, Jessica Williams. She was our guest on the last podcast. So, check that out if you haven't checked it out already. But today, oh my gosh, we're going to be hitting deep on some in-depth discussion on procrastination to really help us dig our way out of it. If you guys don't know, like procrastination can be very costly. It can cause you to miss opportunities. It can cause you to miss money. Okay. We need money to make money. We need money to do marketing. We need money for everything in life. So if it's going to impact your money, it should be a pretty serious issue for you to tackle for yourself. But also just your quality of life, right? Your quality of life gets impacted as well when you are procrastinating. So today we have brought none other than Priyanka Lalwani. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, she could correct it when she introduces herself. But I want you all to know that when I say the guru on procrastination, that's exactly what Priyanka is. She drops so many nuggets on us every single time we meet. If you don't know, for those who don't know, we do have a Monday morning group for entrepreneurs. We meet every Monday morning from 9 to 9:30, and it is a quick, powerful empowerment session, a peer-to-peer discussion, and it's all about development as business owners and as individuals as well. So at this time, I want to introduce you all to Priyanka, and I want her to just share a little bit about who you are, what you do, what communities you serve, how you serve them, and all the good stuff. And also your contact information in case folks want to connect. I believe they're going to want to connect after this. So, Priyanka.
Love it. I'm so thankful to you for inviting me to your show today. And hi, everyone. My name is Priyanka Lalwani. I am a Bollywood music producer and a marketer. Recently, I've been studying about procrastination and how it has been so destructive in our life if we don't recognize it early on. So here I am with Dr. D discussing it, and we've been talking about it for a few days, and I am loving it. I'm loving it to be here, and yeah, you can find me at Productive Mind Mastery on all social media channels, or you can find me at Priyanka Lalwani Music on all social media channels. And I also have a marketing agency because we are all business owners. Procrastination is a big part of our life when we are marketing. I am also available at Precise Persona on all social media channels. So thank you, Dr. Didi, for inviting me. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, as you talked about the productive mind mastery, how did you come up with that name and what is that about? Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So, I struggled for many, many years, and many things came in my life at the same time, which were obstacles, or at that time, I thought it was like those were like, signs of failures. But that's when I realized that it's not about just being task oriented. You have to think of your work uh, as a process, or like a like in terms of progress, or in terms of like milestones. So that's what I felt like. Focus. The word focus is important. The word productive is very important, because you're not looking at the end goal. You're looking at your life in the form of moments, like not even in the form of days. It's like your day is can be measured in the form of moments. Like, what are the moments that you felt today? What And it can be all different, right? It can include ups and downs. It doesn't need to be just uh, all ups or all downs. It can be a mix of it, and it will be a mix of it. But that's how I came about the name, where it's about productivity. It's about your mind. It's not about what you're doing. Like, it's not about physical things. It's not about the level of activity that you have, but it's your mind. Like, how are you controlling your mind? And it goes right to the level of your thoughts. Like, you have to go deeper, deeper, deeper till you understand where that thought is coming from. So that's what kind of all came together, where the outcome of what I'm trying to do is helping people to be productive through their mind. And once you make that change, that flows and that spills into all other categories of your life, which is like, finances, time, relationships, all other things. But it goes back to your mind, and it goes back to the concept of thinking of your life in the form of moments, and then measuring that productivity on a moment to moment basis. So that's where the philosophy came from.
Wow,
um,
that's amazing. And I love that you tackled the mind, right? Like my doctorate degree is in counseling psychology, and it's all about mind, all mind things, right? And so in dealing with entrepreneurs and everyday persons, just individuals, it is important to go into your mind space and figure some stuff out, you know,
yeah.
because you really it's like you're trying to identify some areas, become aware, as you talked about, and things like that. So I love this. I absolutely love this. And I want to talk a little bit about how did you get into studying procrastination? Like, I know people procrastinate, we talk about it, but I've never even met a person who actually spent time studying the concept. So, how'd you get into that?
You're almost speaking like my spouse. So it's a very, I know it's a very, I didn't want to get into it, honestly. Like the discomfort and the pain that you go through, or the anxiety that you go through. I really didn't want to do it, but my procrastination reached such a chronic stage that I had no other option than to dive deep into it. And that's what happens. It happens when there are too many changes in your life. Sometimes, if you have one change at a time, you can manage life. But I had too many changes at that point. So now I'm like doing like a post-mortem, and now I realize that there was too much at that point. And I forgive myself, and I recognize, that I did the best. But that wasn't true for many years. And when I was in that process, when I was going through procrastination, I had no idea of, like, of myself, of who I am, why I'm here, what I'm doing. Am I even valuable? Is anyone even listening to me? Am I even enough? Does anybody even love me? So I was at that stage in my life where I was really not sure of, like, why am I even alive, in a certain way. So that started over there, and then it kind of took me to a very chronic stage where nothing was working, like absolutely nothing was working. And um, there was no alternative for me to come out of this. I didn't have the financial means at that point to go for therapy or any other things. And for me, it was just understanding what this is, or it would go to the next level of uh, procrastination. So there's something called as habitual procrastination, or even chronic procrastination, and there are certain degrees of that. And I think I was way beyond that. So for me, it was like a do or die situation at that point, where I didn't know how much time it was going to take, but that was the only option for me, like for me, to understand what it is, to dive deep into uh, what it looks like, why it is happening, what are the symptoms. Like I started reading with the symptoms, like I'm having these symptoms, like what are these, like what does it lead to, or why, who does this happen to. That's pretty much how I started. So there was no agenda at that point. It was pretty much like, do or die situation for me, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And so that's where it kind of all started. Yeah. So it was not planned for me. I didn't want to do it, honestly. It was too painful. There's too much discomfort. There's too much uh, um, um, anxiety that comes with the process. But yeah, it was pretty much. I I don't know how I would be here, or where I would be if I hadn't done that at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Thank you for sharing that because, all of us go through traumatic situations that shape our life to some degree or another. And it does cause us sometimes to birth out some things, right? To help us and others. So I'm not happy that you had to go through what you went through, but I am happy that you came out on top with something that can help all of us develop not only in our professional life but even just in our individual lives as well. So I want to talk a little bit about your the class. So we took a class with you yesterday. It was a mastery class on overcoming procrastination, and one of the exercises that you gave us to do was a quiz, right? And I thought the quiz was so cool because it was so accurate, and I found out that I am uh, my results say I am uh, not a master procrastinator. I am a mild procrastinator. Now, I was shocked because I thought mine was way worse than that. So I was actually really happy. I was like, yes, I'm not as bad as I thought I was, right? But I did answer the questions honestly. So can you talk about like what are the levels? Is there something lower than mild? Because I only saw mild for me, right? And then I know so one of the other participants said they were like a master procrastinator. So I'm assuming that's like the highest level. But can you talk a little bit about what those levels might be?
Yeah, so I have really simplified it in terms of like mild, intermediate, and then mastery in terms of procrastination. But there are different types of procrastination. Like we talked about, Bill Clinton. A, he has had procrastination in terms of punctuality, and Dalai Lama. Like these are really amazing role models that who have spoken out about procrastination and how it has created such a havoc in their life. And it's also being spoken about by their loved ones. Um, so it just goes to show how chronic it is. There are many, many levels to it. There are many um, types of procrastination. It is almost like, how many drops there are in the ocean. Like there's so much in terms of the types of procrastination. But I think it's important to just have the awareness. So I'm so glad you were there yesterday, because the whole point of the masterclass was just to create awareness, and in a very gentle way, like not as if you're blaming yourself or you're uh, hitting hard on yourself, but just being very compassionate to yourself, being very kind to yourself. um, like I spoke to Soren about it, and I think that's something also really that came with the masterclass. And with my conversations after that, I had so many emails from people who were asking for the replay. And even today morning when I was reading the emails, I felt like all you need to do is just create awareness about whether you have it or not, and then dig a little bit deeper into uh, the situations or the scenarios where it is showing up for you. So in some cases people will have procrastination related to time. So we discussed like the 8 categories of life, like health, relationships, time, um, finances, very important for a business owner, spirituality. Like there are so many these are the 8 categories that have been defined by top researchers, and we've discussed some tips in that direction. So uh, to simple, like it's very important to make it simple, so you can be like a mild procrastinator, and it goes towards the other point is you could be like you are not even so let me rephrase it. It's not about you are, but it's about your behavior could be showing that of having mild procrastination, and the other end of it is chronic level of procrastination, which also at some point is very habitual. So it becomes so difficult that you're not able to get out of it, and it's become a routine for you. Like unknowingly, like you started doing it, and then you just kept on doing it, and then uh, your mind couldn't recognize that it's hurting you in some way, or it's negative, or this could reach a very difficult stage. This could take you to a very difficult stage in your life. So there's a whole range of levels of procrastination in between, and there are also like categories in which you can put your procrastination. So you may not be procrastinating, for example, in your finances, like if you're an accountant, but you may be procrastinating in terms of your time, like how much time are you giving in your business, or like or you could be, so it could be very selective also. Like I think most of us selectively procrastinate. Like a common thing is for people to procrastinate in relationships, because that's really difficult. It's not easy to it's as it is, it's not easy to be a human being on this earth. And then we have all these other things that we are managing in our daily lives. It's not easy, let me say that to you. And so that creates some friction, that creates procrastination. There is something happening there. So you want to know the scenarios where it is showing up in your life, and then you want to know the environment, you want to know the people around you who are there. They may or may not be creating the procrastination, but they are always there in that scenario. So you want to pay attention to those factors, like those criterias in your life where um, there's a particular situation, it's related to a particular category in your life. It could be time, finances, emotion, health, name it. Label it, name it and label it. See who is around you, where you are, um, what condition you are in, what is your mind frame at that point. So it's very important to kind of at least pay attention to that at that point. If you can journal about it at that point, even better. But at least taking a moment, like a small deep breath, to just uh, bring yourself back to presence, would be, like the quickest way to do it. So I feel like that's the broad, like it's so humongous. Like I am so surprised that we don't study about this in school or in college or in our workplace. Like I think that should be the first thing that should go in our training when we are studying or learning.
Yeah,
um
I agree.
yeah.
I
So I
agree because it
that's
impacts
yeah.
so many people at so many stages in life and so many ages. So I agree. It should be incorporated into like life skills training at a minimum, which is the area of education that often gets kind of pushed to the side because of other priorities that they want to introduce. But I agree. I think that this is a topic that should be had on a bigger level, a bigger level as well. Because once people dig their way out of, these procrastination um, concerns, you become more productive. You can, see your way through a task completion, or you can see your way through decision making or something like that. And I like how you described like selective procrastination. I think that's a lot of what I experience personally, just talking about my own self.
Mhm.
Is the selective things. And I remember one time, in our Monday morning group, we were all sharing kind of our procrastination concerns and issues. And the one question you ask is, well, what is it about it that's causing you to procrastinate? Is it that you don't like it? Is it that, and so that causes a person to have to think about it, like, well, wait a minute, why am I not? Why is it not a priority, or why is it not something that I'm even interested in, And so I think, like you said, going back and doing a little bit of digging, it doesn't take like in-depth like research and thought all the time to dig into yourself and identify some of those things. But once you do become aware and identify it and use some of the tools and tips to help you along the way, you can see your production rising and rising and rising. And it does something emotionally for a person. When you complete tasks, it is a good opportunity. Like you say, always do some sort of celebration, whether you just stop and breathe, whether you pat yourself on the back, literally pat yourself on the back, whether you have a system that creates emojis of celebration and celebratory things, confetti, right? Because it It helps you to be proud, like, you're proud in the moment, like, "Yes, I did it," you know?
Yeah, and that's so like, I mean, like we don't celebrate that much.
No.
And I think a celebration has been pegged with only big tasks or big things.
Yes.
Why? Like we can even celebrate small moments in our life. Like, today, like last week, I enjoyed with my niece. That's a moment of celebration. Or, ooh, I discovered something this week, and I realized that I've got to do follow up in my business. Ooh, I can celebrate that because that's an aha moment. And so I really feel like we have to celebrate more, and we also have to um, question ourselves more, and also forgive others. Like I have started forgiving. I have started a process of forgiving my friends and family for a couple of months. Like they did their best with what they had. So that's how I'm kind of like framing and reframing those situations. So we have to do that. And then, classic example, like I was developing this course and it took me 5 years to complete the entire process. And in the I have gone through pretty much everything that you could think of in terms of procrastination. And I just couldn't, I had many hiccups in between. And I had to really reach out to people and figure out why I'm stopping, like the way I asked you. So in my case, like, it was too big of a project to start with. So I had to really break it down into smaller chunks to make it more digestible for me to approach it. So that could be one way of kind of looking at it. But that's what I mean. We have to kind of look at it in different ways in terms of, first thing is like questioning it, like why am I procrastinating? I know this is important. I know that this needs to be done the first thing today morning. But and I know it's going to hurt me, or I know it's not going to serve me if I don't do it anymore, but still I'm not doing it. So, you know just being curious and also not beating yourself up at that point. I have had moments in my past where I used to really be too hard on myself, or I used to beat myself up for really small things. And now I've realized that my language with myself has improved a lot. I forgive myself quickly, easily. So it's very important to also talk to yourself with kindness, with compassion. And this whole thing of self love is really really important. We like, especially if you are living an isolated life as a business owner, it becomes much more important to direct that love towards yourself first. Pretty much as they say in flights, right? Like you need to put your oxygen mask first and then you put it on someone that you love. And I think it's the same philosophy, and there is some logic behind it, where if you cannot serve or love yourself, if you cannot put that oxygen mask on yourself, um, you won't be able to help other people. So you have to do that first thing. And the and you got to start questioning the way you are thinking. It may have helped you when you were growing up, like when you were 5 years old or 10 years old. um, a lot of our thinking develops when we are 10 years old. Like that's where the thoughts like really solidify. And but that's for that moment in your time. It may not be serving you right now, so you have to really question yourself in terms of, is that really helping me? Like where I am right now, what I'm doing with the people around me, with the kind of life I have, with the kind of lifestyle I have, is that really serving me? Do I really need it? And then, if it still helps you, keep doing it. If it doesn't, let it go. You got to release these past learnings that we've had. In some cases, even relationships. In some cases, even some important work that you were doing. So that's where we also spoke about like prioritization, which is a big part of procrastination also. So So I feel like that's where, I feel my thoughts are right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like it all works, I'll say. Like when you really put these principles in place, once you become aware and identify some things and kind of really do some kind of internal self seeking, self awareness, and things like that, you do find some areas of improvement, whether, like you said, whether it's in relationships or whether it's in just tasks that you probably should have said no to, but you took it on anyway, right? Um, and things like that. And that's something that on the last podcast we were talking about, like when to say no, right? Because sometimes we're procrastinating because it's not something we wanted to do in the first place. It's just something maybe we wanted to help a friend. Maybe we, just felt bad. And so because of our emotional feeling towards it, we just wanted to just say yes because we just didn't want to seem like the bad person and say no. But then what happens? Things go by the wayside sometimes. So, all of these like prioritization and accountability and all these things matter, not just to overcome procrastination, but just they're great tools to implement in life, period, right? With your time, with your financial resources, with your relational resources, especially as a business owner, as a business owner, and most business owners, like I think the statistics are like 89% of business owners are owner operators, which
Yeah.
means you don't have anybody else to really carry out the bulk of the task, right? So if everything falls on you, like you said, it goes back to that you have to help yourself first before you can be in position to help somebody else. So if you're not operating at optimal efficiency as much as possible, then how can you really help someone else do it, right?
Yeah, and we want to put ourselves at that table where we can make those decisions. I feel like at this point I'm actually referring people also, and I'm also taking opportunities where I come to the table where we can make those decisions as business owners. And if I have not learned it, I take training for that. So I'm taking a couple of leadership training programs for that. We really need to teach ourselves these things. It's almost like parenting yourself, or rather reparenting yourself in certain way. But that's really important for you to, because it helps you to understand yourself. I think, you know uh, a lot of these teachings, a lot of the practices, a lot of the journaling that I've done, and I've been journaling for about 2.5 years since I started developing the course, and I've done all the exercises that I've put up in my courses, and they've made a massive difference because it just teaches a lot about you, and it tells you where you were, where you are, where you want to go. And we may not have done it in the past, but we can do it now. We can create a vision board for yourself. We can create a plan of what our life looks like, what we want our life to look like, how people around us can help us, and then take action, ask for support. So, but in order to do that, you've got to put in the work and um, not procrastinate, right? So I have been through stages in my life where I was avoiding, just avoiding, getting up, even doing my laundry in certain times. um, I have been guilty of people pleasing in the past. That's a big part of certain cultures also, and um, that's a big part of our society today also, like, people pleasing. How often can you say no? How direct can you be with people around you or with people in your lives? Um, and so, like, thinking like a victim, or thinking others like a victim, or being vigilant, or those are so many ways in which your mind operates. So you want to go down to the level of your thoughts and see how your thoughts are operating on that day, in that moment. And in a way you can direct them to obey certain commands that you want. I think, being in an era of AI, I'm learning that we can pretty much train your mind like an AI chatbot, or like a robot, right? So think of your mind like a robot, think of your mind like a chatbot, and direct them to do what you want them to do. tell them a command, give your mind a command, like, hey, today morning I want to work on follow-ups. um, let's focus, let's do this for 10 minutes to start with, and let's get this going. Right? So we can direct our mind, we can direct our thoughts um, to obey certain commands. And the other side of it is, if you don't do that, then probably you are chasing your emotions, you're letting your emotions guide you, and then they may or may not work the way you want it to be. So then we want our thoughts to um, obey what we want them to do. So uh, you have to structure your mind in that way, you have to talk to your brain in that way, maybe give it a name, and talk to it in a certain way, and say, this is my intention, this is what I want today to look like. So in the morning you can say, hey, this is what I want my day to look like at the end of it. Can we make it happen? What do you want from me to solve this problem? So that's one really powerful way to wake up and to make decisions. And that's coming from someone who used to spend hours on her bed just sitting, like, didn't want to do anything, I just didn't want to do anything, like no chores, no laundry, nothing. So I was just hopeless at some point, at that point in my life. And now I've reached a point where uh, I've learned, like, you can train your brain like an AI robot or like a chatbot. So, I want to help your listeners to understand that that can be done. And if you do it for a couple of days, you'll figure it out. You'll figure out that it'll, like, it may not, like, give yourself enough time. Like, don't just try it once and give it up. Try it couple of times. My golden number is always 3 months. Like, anything you do, always try it for 3 months nonstop. If it doesn't work after that, it's okay to let it go. But you got to try something and give it time to show the results to you for at least 3 months.
That's good. That is really good. Because a lot of times I think it is common to just try it. And then if we don't see the immediate results, we're like, oh, that didn't work. So never mind. It's not going
I
to work. Right.
Yeah, I had so many product launches in the past where I just left it because it didn't work in the first time. And
Yep.
now I'm like, wait a minute, I can actually uh, launch it again and again. And, it will help many, many people. It'll create such an amazing impact that I can see.
Yes.
So I have, as a marketer, I have given myself 3 years of time. And if there are other marketeers or other product creators or other entrepreneurs on your channel, I really want to share this. Give yourself 3 years of time for any new product that you launch. There are lots of, so the statistics right now is mind-boggling when you see the number of people shifting from a 9 to 5 job to an entrepreneurship
Yes.
journey, because of the flexibility, the freedom, the independence, all those good things that entrepreneurship brings. It's not easy. It's You need guts to be an entrepreneur, let me put it that
Yes.
way.
You do.
um, and you and I know this,
Yes.
uh, being in it for so many years. But I feel like, don't give up quickly. You got to be in it for a long run. So anything new that you launch, give yourself 3 years of time for a product or a service launch. And if you're trying like a small habit, give yourself minimum 3 months to let it show the results to you in different ways. So
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
would
I agree.
yeah.
That's good. 3 months, 3 years, whatever that looks like. But I think that's a good minimum. It's 3 months to just try it and see, to really give it time to either it's going to work or that it's not, or that it's going to work a certain way where you just have to kind of tweak some things. So I think that's really good. I do want to touch on, before we wrap up, I want to touch on this thing called like energy management, right? Like, so as a part of we've been doing a 2-week stop procrastination challenge where every day we get these mini tasks, right? And they're really simple, easy things. But one of the days, the task is called energy management. And this is where you're just identifying the best time of day for you to be productive, right? And so for me, my best time of day for productivity is anytime like after 10 a.m. going into the early afternoon time. Like that's when I feel like I'm more alert, more awake. I have way more energy. And even all the way into the evening, right? 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, I can really knock some things out, right? But I know some people, their most productive times of day are 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, or maybe it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So when it comes to that, how important do you think it is to identify the best time of day to get things done?
I think it's crucial, and it's going to be the deal breaker for you if you find that out. Interestingly, I think you are in a very your time zone is very interesting. I've seen by research 11 o'clock in the morning is a really productive time for people, because you've just seen all your emails and or done your workout and you had your coffee, and so that's a good time for people to start. And then the second time which I found very useful, which is my time, is also is after lunch, immediately after lunch. Your
Hmm.
stomach is full, you're happy, you've had food, you've had half of the day, so there has been some momentum. So I think the 2 p.m. time, or the any time after lunch when you have that, also is like a really amazing time to put yourself to do something and get it done. But everyone's time is different. The way I found it out was by journaling. So I journaled for a couple of months, then I went through my journal. I saw which are the times when um, I was the most productive, or when the work got done, and then I reached that conclusion. You can do it for a week or maybe a month and figure it out for yourself. And if you want to just immediately try something, try out the 11 o'clock time, the 2 p.m. time. Those are two landmark um, time zones or time frames when most of the people by research have said they have found it very useful. But finding out your time is really important, because that's when you want to know, that's when you want to direct people to give you space. Like, if you're working from home, you want to tell your loved ones, hey, this is my focus time, please do not disturb me at this point, right?
Hmm.
And you can create that routine for yourself and for them. So it really helps you with expectation management, which was a really difficult thing that I had to I couldn't figure out for a really long time. But um, once you figure out your times, like the most efficient time for you, it not only helps you, but it also helps people around you, your family, your colleagues. They know when to ping you, they know what is the right time they can reach out to you for help. So it really helps them also. Sometimes, you want to buy a gift for someone, but if that person tells you what gift they want or when they want it, that is, you're making it simpler for that person, right? So in the same way, we are making it simpler for our loved ones or people around us to know when is the right time for them to reach out to us, and they can prepare for it in a better way. So I feel like knowing your time is the deal breaker. Like, it is really, really important. It's going to be different for different people, so you have to find it out for yourself. There are many archetypes in that. That's a whole different research that I was a part of also, where there are four different types of archetypes, where it goes from data analysts, highly geeky people, to highly creative people, and then there's a whole range of people in between. And then each archetype has its own um, favorite time when they feel like working on. But again, in each archetype also, like, not all creatives will work um, efficiently at the same time. Again, there are further categories in that also. So in a simple way, if you want to do it, just journal what you're doing, how much energy is going into the tasks, where it is going, how are you feeling at that point. That is really important. Don't just write down the tasks, also write how it makes you feel at that point. I really enjoy doing that because I had never done it before. So I attached emotions to the feelings, and that's what made me realize, oh, I'm doing this, but I'm not enjoying it. And so then I didn't do it anymore. Like, I just delegated it to someone else after that. So it's important to know how you're feeling at that point. As simple as just you and the journal and writing it down. I know it's going to be a lot of writing. You can do it digitally. Um, but do that part. That process is going to be really, really important. If you do it in a book, it has a different charm to it. If you do it online, it is searchable. So I think I like that part of it. So pick your jam, pick whatever suits to you. But it's a non-negotiable item, I would say, for anybody. You have to um, put in the effort to know where your energy is going. There's a really amazing book called Energy Management that everybody should read. And there's another book called um, uh, uh, something to be disliked. I'll share the exact name with you, Dr. D. But I think those two books are really incredible if you want to go into understanding more about your energy. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, this has been a great discussion, Priyanka. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing these nuggets. These are all amazing. Thank you for sharing those resources as well. Just simple things such as journaling, if that's your jam, or tracking something on something online using an online tool or something like that. I myself, I'm visual, so like the online things where I can color coordinate, that really helps
Yeah.
me. But everybody, like you said, has their jam. So, if you're the type of person that likes to journal, there's some amazing journals out there, and you can also create your own as well. So, something to think about if you're a creative and you still want to kind of manage these things. But remember to give it at least, 90 days, try some things out, try out some new strategies, products, things like that, whatever you're looking to do in your business for yourself. But also just mainly with increasing your productivity and overcoming your procrastination. Priyanka, any last words of wisdom, empowerment that you want to share with us?
I feel by understanding procrastination, you are trying to understand your USP as a person. What is that unique thing inside you? Why you are here today? So I feel like any exercises that you do um, in this entire journey of taming your procrastination, again, I'm saying taming, not overcoming, because procrastination is going to be there with you, but it's just the degree to which it's going to be there. That is something that we can control. So that's why you can tame your procrastination and just imagine the life that you would have once you do that. So, for people who are visual, like you said, just visualize, like, day in, day out, morning, evening, just before bedtime, or just after you wake up. Just visualize that day when you have tamed your procrastination. How does that look like? Just imagine that. And that'll help you get head start right away. Yeah.
That is great. That is great. Thank you for sharing. Remind us of how people can stay in contact with you and follow you. What are your socials, website, all that good stuff?
Sure. So I have a masterclass that we did yesterday, but by public demand, I would like to do that again in 2 weeks. So, Dr. D, if it's okay, I can share with you like things that the information, and you can put it in the description if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then so we'll have that in 2 weeks, and people can find me on all social media channels by searching my first name, last name, and music. So Priyanka Lalwani Music. And you can also search me by my second business, which is Precise Persona. I feel procrastination is a huge part of creative people. Someone like myself, like a Bollywood music producer, and it's also a big part of a business owner's life, especially if you are into marketing. I've seen procrastination really coming up in like a really sneaky way in my life, in uh, all the work that I've done. So I would love to help people and just help them with creating awareness. um, in all my social media channels, I try to um, approach it with a non-judgment, or create awareness without any um, pointing fingers or blaming. So uh, I would love for you to extend that to yourself also, whether it's online or offline. Yeah, so you can find me on priyankalalwanimusic.com or precisepersona.com, and I've shared with you their socials. I'd love for you to join me on my masterclass in 2 weeks, and Dr. D will share the details in the description. And if you have any questions about a certain situation in your life where you are procrastinating and you're not able to understand that, please feel free to reach out to me. I will do my best to respond to you as quickly as possible. Um, Put this as a top priority in your life, because it spills into every other aspect of your life. So if you know you are procrastinating, and I just met a couple of people in the last week who shared with me that they realize they are procrastinating, or their team is procrastinating and they don't know what to do. Spend some time, set aside some time to read about it. And if you have any questions, let me know. And Dr. D is also in this zone of genius, so she can also definitely help you to tame this. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This discussion has been great. Thank you to all of our listeners. Be sure to share, share, share. We want to get this message out there to help folks all over the world with this concept of procrastination and taming it. I like that, taming it as opposed to overcoming it, but taming it, because it's something that's just innate within us. So we certainly want to keep that down as much as possible. But thank you again, Priyanka, for joining me. And thank you to all of our listeners. We have some faithful listeners all over the world. And so we just want to just spread this positive, empowering discussion with everyone we know. All right. Until next time. Bye, everybody.